Good evening. It is Friday, March 7th at 10:47 p.m. A little bit later on my post game than usual. I wasn't too quick in my pre-post game prep. Maybe I wasn't motivated. Who knows? Maybe I ate or drank whatever Purdue drank for the last minute and 20 of that game. Whatever it is, that was a rough ending to that one. Purdue loses in Champaign, 88-80 somehow. They fall to 21-10 on the season, and the regular season is effectively over. Karen Grulock is here first. She asked me if I was worried about this game with, I think, about 10 minutes, something like that. We DM'd each other. And I was, and I was worried about this game coming in, to be real honest. And if you go back, you could check the tape. I did not think Purdue would win this game. I also didn't think they'd lose this way. That's kind of the fun of college basketball, I guess, is you don't expect a lot. Even when you watch a team regularly, you still don't know what to expect coming into games. This one's no different. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I thought I saw, what I actually saw, and then we'll talk together, if you will. First, let's talk about Home Field Apparel. Thank you to Home Field. Head over to homefieldapparel.com. Check out their Hoop Society packs. Purdue's got one. There's only 20 schools in America that got one, but it's pretty cool. It's got an old Purdue Pete, none of that soft, happy, I don't even know what you call that new Purdue Pete that they're putting out there. I don't like it, but I'm an old school guy, so whatever. If you like the new school Pete, you don't get it in the Hoop Society pack from Purdue for Home Field. But check that out. Check out the classic sweater. And if you want to send me one, you're more than welcome to. That's homefieldapparel.com. And also, when you're in God's country and Purdue's just played a head scratcher of 1:20, what do? You head out of Mackey Arena and then you head towards the fire station. When you get to that fire station, take a hard left. You're going to see the blue lights. You're going to go into the double doors there, and you're going to see Adam there with open arms, welcoming you and your friends to have a delicious meal and to have the best darn treatment on campus. So you can't go wrong. Grab a pint, burgers, beef, beer. That's AJ's by the fire station, eatajs.com. So, yeah, weird game. Purdue was up by double digits in the first half. They lost that lead. We've seen that a lot the last month and a half. Purdue was up double digits in the second half. They lost that lead. And in the closing minutes, the game was tied with 1 minute and 19 seconds left. And if you think back to your memory of watching that game and you don't remember it feeling like it was tied with 1:19, oh, it was. And then Braden Smith couldn't score and TKR couldn't score, and then no one else even had a chance. Looked like Smith was tired to me. Shot a bunch of shots at the front of the rim. He finished super close to a triple-double tonight. He was super close to a triple-double with 15 minutes left. I think he was 2 boards short and an assist short of a triple-double. With 10 or 11 minutes left, I think he was 1 board short. And just like Purdue, he finishes short today. Interesting game, though. To me, it looked like, you guys can tell me I'm wrong or whatever, tell me I'm a moron, but from the jump, TKR didn't have his legs because he missed a lot of shots that he usually makes. Bad news for everybody. Purdue's going to play a lot of games in short succession coming up here real soon. If they win in the Big Ten tournament, well, now they may have lost their double bye. It's not a done deal yet because there's still basketball to be played. So Purdue could get back into the spot in the fourth place. I don't think they're guaranteed the double. I'm positive they're not guaranteed the double bye as they sit right now. And I haven't really looked at how they could lose it. So Purdue could play either Thursday or Friday to start the Big Ten tournament. Odd position for Purdue to be in. Haven't been in that 5th slot and further back since I think 2020. But they earned it. Let's not forget that they've had plenty of chances this year and just haven't been able to put it together. I talked about this on Twitter. I said this team needs to be mentally tougher. And it's a great opportunity when you're playing in an atmosphere like Illinois, because That place is intense. They do not like Purdue. That was why I thought Purdue would lose, because I said this is Super Bowl for them. Illinois is starting to put things together. Illinois had been playing pretty good basketball coming into this game. But again, I didn't think it would happen the way it happened. Illinois is one of the worst three-point shooters and shooting teams in the league. They shoot like 30% from three. Purdue shoots 37%, 36.8, something like that, 36.9. Tonight, it almost got inversed. But in the first half, Illinois was just absolutely lighting Purdue on fire. But the reason they were doing it, even into the second half, was Purdue was getting back slowly on defense. It felt like this happened over and over. And somebody who's better at stats and tabulations and analysis could tell you, oh, that didn't happen that many times. But here's what it felt like. It felt like Purdue would miss a shot they should make. Either a layup would come off, roll off the rim, or a makeable bunny would come off, and Illinois would get a unusually deep rebound, or Purdue would be sucked down to the baseline. They would get down. It would be a 2-on-3 or something. Illinois would get an open look at three. It felt like that happened a lot, and Illinois knocked them down. Purdue effort wasn't the problem tonight. That's not the issue. They just looked like they were gassed. And also, another thing that I think happened, and I could go back and watch the tape to confirm or not, but it felt like Illinois completely took away Fletch Lawyer in the closing minutes, and kind of forced Smith to take I don't want to say ill-advised three, because he's a good three-point shooter, but to take a three that maybe wasn't ideal. And I think TKR got one or two looks in that closing 2 minutes, maybe one look in that closing minute 19. Maybe I'm wrong. Regardless, it felt like it wasn't working there at the end of the game. It's like Purdue had used everything in the gas tank and it was over, which is a shame. I don't remember when Cam Heide fouled out, but Heide fouled out and the game did change a bit. He was playing well on defense. Purdue had a hard time staying in front of Boswell. Boswell was really good. They had a hard time with White. They had a hard time. There were like 3 or 4 guys. They had a hard time, honestly, getting out and closing out three-pointers on motion. But the funny thing was, in the first half, everything was working for Purdue. Purdue was setting screens, and Smith was getting easily to the hoop. And even when it didn't go well, meaning Purdue didn't finish the possession with a point, TKR was getting looks that he usually makes. I mean, like some really good looks that are his bread and butter. He still finished with 20-something points. I'll talk about that when I look at the stats. But he missed a lot of shots he usually makes. And I don't know if Purdue would ever blown the game out of the water. But a couple times when it was like 10-point lead, Illinois needed something. And generally they got a whistle, if we're being real honest, to just stop the momentum dead in its tracks. Make no bones about it. Purdue peed down their leg in the last minute and 19 seconds. But Jeffrey Anderson's presence was felt in this one, especially in the first half. He killed Purdue's momentum a couple times with a couple calls that, I mean, he was out of position. He wasn't even the ref that should have been calling him on a couple of them. That's the thing that was noteworthy to me. But so be it. He also missed a three that put Illinois up before the break, before one of the timeouts in the first half. They showed the play in slow motion. And the funny thing is they missed a travel on that play before the pass was even thrown. And I thought it was fitting that they put that in there. But Purdue can hoist the blame on their own shoulders. Heide did foul out. It felt like he was kind of the guy that was going to take it on the chin in the second half. At one point, I think he had 3 fouls in about 2 minutes of gameplay. Wild. One of them was a foul, I think. But when you're not in position to blow the whistle, maybe you'll miss those. But is that the thing that lost Purdue the game? No. The thing that lost Purdue at the game was at the end. They just didn't have anything left in the tank. Let's look at the stats. Like I said, the regular season is over. This season flew by for me. I've said this a couple times. It was incredibly fast. But now I remarked about this. Fun Friday has been a thing this year where Purdue wins on Friday and then you get to enjoy it. And if Purdue would have won tonight, you get to enjoy the fact that, okay, they've clinched the double bye. They're not going to play for another week. They're not going to play till next Friday. And now you can just watch basketball or not if you want to take a deep breath before the marathon begins. If you're like me, the next weekend is going to be awesome. Some conference tournaments, lesser conference tournaments, smaller conferences have started their tournaments. So the fun has begun. There's no doubt about that. And it's not work, but it's a lot of basketball coming your way. And so it's the best. It's the best 2 weekends of the year, if you ask me. And I like a lot of the sports weekends, but a lot of fun to be had. Purdue loses 88-80 at Illinois in Champaign. I'm not going to comment. I've got a comment about the production of that. I'm not going to tell. Okay, so 21-10 on the season, 13-7. Every time Purdue this year, especially down the stretch, felt like they had an opportunity to get closer to the top of the Big Ten. Tonight's another one where you just cement your place at number 4 in the league. Purdue just didn't do it. The interesting thing about this team, you can see it. You can see it's going to be a really good team next year if everybody returns, which there's a real possibility. Of course, first graduates. But you can see the seeds of it. Jakari Harris, for instance, comes in instant energy, bombs a 3. A minute later, has a steal, I think, and then a layup. CJ Cox had some great defensive plays. Both those guys got kind of past their freshman doldrum. There's an amazing alley-oop tonight that was ended in a technical foul call. Did he hang on the rim? Maybe a little bit long. Did it warrant a tech? I don't think so. Later in the game, because a lot of people that are really legalistically, maybe some of you are on here, say, well, he hung on the rim. That's an open-shut technical. Okay, let me ask you a question there, legalistic guy. When a coach is arguing with a ref and he gets in real tight and he starts bobbing his head and he headbutts a ref, is that a tech? Because that happened in the second half for Illinois on their bench. Brad Underwood was about to have his head pop off. His assistant coach comes over to stop the technical. And then the assistant coach and Underwood and the ref's heads all come together in one place. Out of anger. No technical there. That's the whole thing. Just call it consistent. I think everybody's going to be real happy. But again, finish the game, Purdue. Calvin Wren finishes 29 points on 13 of 23 shooting. Like I said, just some missed opportunities. He also grabbed 7 boards. That's pretty solid. Really, if you look at Purdue gets out rebounded, not a surprise. But if you have a couple more heroics, if you will, on the glass, maybe the game gets flipped. It's that easy. Braden Smith, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 12 assists, and just 3 turnovers. And I believe all 3 were in the first half. He started the game pretty poorly, really jumpy, understandably, big game. He was awfully good at Illinois last year. Think about this. Last year, obviously Edey was a force. But remember, Smith put him to bed at the end of the game, right? He made the shots to effectively end that game. And that was a madhouse of an environment then too. Illinois' environment's great. But tonight it was almost the inverse. And so maybe next year we get the rubber match game where get another incredible atmosphere, and hopefully Purdue has already clinched the Big Ten title at that point, and the Big Ten scheduling does the same exact thing. And I don't want to say a throwaway game, but a game that's not really worth all that much to one team and worth more to the other. But man, I hope to see this team next year exactly as it's formed, because they are all going to get better this offseason. Fletch Lawyer, 14 points on 4 of 7 shooting, 0 for 2 from deep. He was fouled on 3, I think, twice. I think that's true. Yeah, I think that's right. And he missed one of his free throws on the front side, which is weird. It looked to me, again, that mental toughness, it just looked like Purdue wasn't dialed in. And there's no excuse not to be dialed in. CJ Cox finished with 7 points, 5 boards, and first, pretty quiet. Not even on the glass, only 3 boards, a couple assists. Off the bench, though, Jakari Harris, again. Lots of good things from Jakari Harris. The last 2 weeks have been great. It's clear he's gotten past that. If it's mental or if it's physical fatigue, whatever it is that happens freshman, he's gotten past it. 8 points, a steal. He looked great. And so let me look at the exact stats of the thing I talked about. 3-point shooting really made a difference in this game. Last game, Purdue, I think, went 18 of 36. Incredible game, obviously bizarre. Water finds its level a bit, and it did tonight. 27.8% for Purdue, shooting 5-18. You could say that's the game. There are a couple things you could say that's the game, but that's a disheartening one. Purdue shot the free throws well, though. That's another thing. Sometimes goes with that mental and physical fatigue. Purdue shoots 85% from the free throw line. On the other side, Illinois shoots 37% from three and shot great from the free throw line, 84%. So you move on to the Big Ten tournament now, one way or another, either fourth or fifth seed. 21-10 is spot on what I predicted at the beginning of the season. But again, just like this game, it did not go the way I thought it would this year. So let me see what you guys have to say. Hold on a second. So like I predicted, by the way, my voice is getting a little bit better. I think everybody was hoping my voice was kind of like the parallel with Purdue's basketball team. And if they would have won, you could have said they're kind of tracking at the same rate. But since they didn't, that analogy falls apart a bit. Like I said, Karen's here. And then Boilers 012 says, wowza, had opportunities, but a great game in the season, no doubt. Who's Johnny says, Lawyer didn't take enough threes. No, he didn't. But if you watched, that was because Illinois was doing everything they could to make it difficult on him. Good defense by Illinois on Lawyer. They left some other things open in the process. But Lawyer was a guy they were trying to take away, it looked like to me. Zach Welch says, Boiler up, beat down, still feeling cautiously optimistic about the tournaments. Okay, it's good. Big Ten refs soon to be away from us. But that's not how it works. So here, Big Ten refs, if anybody understands this, are a pre-approved group of officials that are in the pool, right, in the NCAA tournament. So Jeffrey Anderson, for instance, Jeffrey Anderson is in the pool. So Purdue could get him every time, which it feels like they got him every time this season. What a blessing it is to have a ref that every game makes it about him every single time. And this is not a new thing. This is a tale as old as college basketball. I've been saying this forever, but he's the newest version of this. I'd say that, and he might be the worst version because it's his show every single time he is on the screen. Matt Welch says, refs, man, they were bad, but not hitting wide open shots are bad. Yeah, the front of the rim for Smith is pretty unusual. The first indicator, if you're a over analytical person, if you just look at things like, uh-oh, bad sign. Smith had one of those fadeaways on the right side that he missed with a few minutes left. I wish I could remember when. And he front rimmed that, and it turned. Illinois went down the court quickly and scored. But that was kind of the indicator that he didn't have his legs. When he has his legs on that, he elevates pretty well, and he usually splashes that thing because it's not a deep shot. It's probably a 12 to 15 foot kind of fade towards the out of bounds. But then his 3-pointers were both or either 2 or 3 at the end, all off the front of the rim. Chris R says, hey, B. Dowd, in the time between the end of the game and the recap, Heidi was whistled for 8 more fouls. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Jeffrey Anderson did not like the way he was looking at him. So somebody's got to pay. Frail Hammer says, beef house. Maybe not tonight. I don't know. I don't know what Painter thinks about the beef house stop on nights like tonight. I would hope they didn't get a little beef house. Just give them some fast food, like Coach Katie gave years ago. That end of the game, man, that's tough. That's tough medicine. Regardless of the reason. Nita Brian-Rivers, how are you? Says, evening, sir. Sound better? I'm getting better. Like I said, my voice, though, it's weird. I can feel it changing again. Boilers 012 says, beef house tonight, high knees. No beef house tonight. Exactly. High knees says technicals for everyone. He's handing them out. Just like the beef house rolls, instead, technicals for everyone. But not really. Who's Johnny says blew another lead to choke. Exactly. That's if you want to just kind of sum the whole thing up. That's it. And that's what this team has done a lot of late this season. Jeff Nestor says tired legs, 3-point shooting, free throw lost the game. Tired legs look like the main story to me. Mental toughness would be another one that this team. And when I say this, I don't want this team to think this is like an incurable sin or the end of the world if a parent's watching or whatever. Mental toughness, to me, it's an interesting thing. This team has the two, the guys that are the two main leaders of the team. Clearly, it seems like it's Smith and TK, our team, right? Both of those guys play right on edge in games, right? And it's great when it's on, like you saw when Smith got on fire versus Rutgers. You could see the emotion. You love the emotion. But there's got to be a way to turn it down, crank it down. And you could feel at the end of that game, that thing was kind of teetering. At about the 5 48-minute mark, I thought Purdue won the game because one of Illinois' guys who whined every time, anything, he'd fall on the floor, he'd whine, 32. He got cute, threw a ball off the back of Smith, and he jammed the ball against the backboard and the rim. Smith went down the other and hit a three. I was like, okay, that's a pivotal moment. Think about that. 5:48, Purdue takes the lead, and it looked like the game was, if he hits that, I think Illinois would have gone up 4. Instead, Smith goes down and takes the lead. Or Smith goes down, hits 3, Purdue takes the lead. So it felt like those momentum things, but Illinois did not give up. They had no quit, so they kept fighting. Good for them. Jeff Nestor says, can't play players 40 minutes game after game. No doubt about it, but the counter to that, and I know there are a lot of people that have been questioning this. There's 2 things. One, Smith did this last season, and it worked out okay. Purdue looked really good. Smith played a ton of minutes. Edie played a ton of minutes last year. I mean, when I say a ton of minutes, go back. Just look at how many minutes Smith and Edie were both playing, and it was a lot. It was a lot. And Purdue finished this season okay. This year, there's no doubt that it would be nice. I think, especially in the last 2 weeks, I would have really liked to have seen more Harris and Cox in at the same time. They look really good together. Even somebody said on Twitter, they said when Harris is in the game with Colvin, there's something weird about the movement and the way they're both going to the rim. It doesn't work quite as well. I kind of agree. And maybe it's because Fletch doesn't try to go in and fill in the lane and Colvin's trying to get to the hoop. Same thing. I don't know. But I would argue, like I have been all season, another year, put the team in the oven to bake, and that's going to cure a lot of ails. I know it's sucks to do that, but I'll tell you what, I don't know. You could say it in the comments. You could say, what's considered a successful season this year for you? I know many of you thought Purdue should go to the Final Four, and this team never looked like a team that was built for a Final Four to me. Even before the skid, they never looked like that. I thought maybe they've gelled together a little quicker than I thought, but they never looked like a Final Four type of team to me, and they still don't look like a Final Four type of team to me. But what is a successful season in your opinion? Like from here on out, so Big Ten tournament result, and then the NCAA tournament. What's a successful season? Or have you already said, man, they missed the mark because 21 wins isn't that great? It's kind of where I thought they'd be. I've got my answer, but I'm not going to tell you my answer. You give me yours, and we can talk. We can talk later. I'm going to skip through some of the comments just because I've eaten a lot of time here. Mike Gordon says, so sick of Purdue fans whining and moaning. Suck it up. Completely insufferable after the loss. Love this team. Can't wait for the big tournament. I don't know if you're talking about me. If you are, just don't come on here. It's easy. But if I was whining, that's fine. Yeah. And if that's directed at me, just don't. You don't need. There's a podcast for everyone right now. Jack's Boiler says, I wish Gillis and Morton had stayed. Defense needs their toughness. I thought a couple times this season that you really needed Gillis's toughness. And it's not just in the game. You need Gillis's toughness in practice to instill a modicum of toughness that this team lacks. Gillis is another guy, though. He's another guy that plays emotionally. His heart's on his sleeve, for better and for worse. And I love that. But the funny thing is, I think TKR wants to be the guy that has the calm about him. You can tell he tries to be stone-faced, but he struggles with it, really. And that's a maturation process thing. And he's great. And he's going to be, he got robbed by not being a finalist for 2 of the Big Men Awards. He didn't get on either list. He's going to be all Big Ten. Could be all American on some lists. But still, that emotional, you need somebody who's the saucer that cools off the coffee. So, and I don't know if they've got that just yet. So that'll develop. Thomas, let's see. I'm going to go back here. A lot of JL41 says Braden Smith and TKR are too good to run it back with the same supporting cast. Need to add another wing and capable rim protector at the portal. There's going to be room on the roster. I've been talking about this for a couple weeks. there'll be room on the roster regardless of who leaves and who stays. As you know, NCAA rosters increased to 15 next year. A lot of stuff happens this summer with the way players are paid. But at that point, I would think Purdue's roster will probably be set. I hope it's set. I would think it'd be set by rule, but I don't know. I don't understand anything because it seems like anything can happen whenever they want. There'll be a lawyer get involved and everything's okay. But I would say, I think, in my opinion, you can disagree if you want, I think they've got good wings on this team, good enough for what this team is to be better next year. Granted, I think nobody thought Colvin and Heidi's development would be, I don't want to say slow, but not this lack of advancement, whatever. I don't want to say I'm disappointed in guys for being what they are. Like, I just think some guys need more time and need another off season. I think everybody needs another off season. But I'm not a rah-rah guy for the portal. I'm watching teams built completely on the portal. I know there's extremes and there's, I think what Paint wants to do is he wants to get grad transfers and develop undergrads. I think that's what he would like to do every year if he could. I think there's opportunity this year if you can find a kid who's serious and in it for the right reason, whatever that is. And you can tell he's going to be a good addition to the team, good teammate. Yeah, they could use a banger. I'd say get a 6'9" or 6'10" guy that's an absolute beast on the glass. That'd be really great. And getting another wing if you want to, sure. And getting there's going to be, I think there's opportunity to get 2 or 3 players out of the portal, regardless who stays or leaves. We'll see. A lot of variables, a lot of stuff can happen. A lot of guesswork that I don't want to do after a loss. Let's see. Zach Welch says, don't care too much about the Big Ten tournament. If they win it, great, but that's not the expectation. I think this team can get to the second weekend, but the big key is winning round 1. I think I'd be extremely disappointed if they lost in round 1. We've seen it before with Purdue teams where it smarts. We don't know the matchup yet. That's the other thing. You can run into a buzzsaw. You can run into the wrong team, the wrong matchup. And this team, this Purdue team, this version this year, matchups really matter. And the other thing that matters, I don't know if you guys have seen this, the projections, the prognostications of that 8 line. Illinois, a lot of people had it as an 8 coming into this week. But teams like UConn, Illinois, there's another one in there that was like, what? I mean, the 1 seeds could get absolutely punished by their second round game. And similarly, you could get a team that had a rough season, that either had injury that they dealt with all season and is better, or had problems with chemistry and is better than their record. The first round, you get a team that, if you get a major conference team that has had a disappointing season for one reason or another, you could run to one of these teams that has a bunch of 23 and 24 year olds. And that has been tough for Purdue all year, dealing with the physicality of guards up top that are hell-bent on doing something, and they're men, has been hard for this team. There are a couple times tonight where Boswell drove on Cox, and you could tell Boswell was like, yeah, I'm just going to go. I'm going to take what's mine here. And Cox couldn't do anything about it. And so I think that's one thing when you have I don't know how old Boswell is, but he's seasoned, if nothing else. And he's older than Cox. We know that. And Cox has struggled getting used to that. And the physicality of it has been he's going to be great with an offseason develop. Again, keep saying the same thing. So, yeah, but there is so much trouble and so many pitfalls to be found in the NCAA tournament this year, especially because you think about it, the dominant teams, right? There's a handful. They're really, really good. Those teams that are in that dominant class, the Auburn, Tennessee, and still they started losing. Even Alabama's style play is tough to prepare for because it's so fast. But the fact that they don't play defense can hurt them. But Duke has been great. Now, if you get Duke on a night where you're able to slow somebody down, they could be in big trouble. And Duke running into UConn in the second round is a possibility when some people have this on their prognostication, their projection. What a horrible thing that would be to Duke to have a season like they've had where they've been dominant. I mean, and then run into one of these really, really good 8 seeds. Mercy, that's rough. Absolutely rough. So, Yo says, if the physicality gets to Cox, what would it do to Jacobson? Yeah, so this is a really, really good point. And, Jacobson's been going through warm-ups for 2 weeks now, which is great to see. He's getting healthier, looking good. That's a guy that, everybody wishes we had because you need a rim protector, undoubtedly. But it's a little different up top and down low. Not a lot of teams have the big physical 24-year-old, but it seems to me there's tons of big physical guards that are still in college basketball. So, yeah, I don't know who wouldn't struggle. Let's look. Here's an example of a team that's very, very old, very experienced. Auburn. Their average age is 23.6 years old. And they got big men that are absolute dudes, right? Running into that team for anybody all year has been trouble because they've got old physical guys from top to bottom. Heck, when Purdue played them, they looked like a CYO team, right? Texas A&M, who I think out physical Purdue, was trouble. Marquette at the top, right? Their backcourt ate Purdue up. So there's pitfalls everywhere. Again, Daniel Harmon says with Jacobson being out, he's getting to focus on weight training this year, so he should be primed for next year. No doubt. I don't know if you've seen pictures of him warming up though. It hasn't taken yet, and you don't want to take too much away because something that makes Jacobson great. And I've said this since I watched him playing for the U.S. team. Was it U19, U18 team? Sorry, U18, U19 team, is his footwork's so darn good. He's got great hands, but his footwork's excellent. Part of the reason his footwork's so great is because he's so light. But he gets up and down the court quickly. He's really, really good at getting in the right position quickly. You don't want him to lose too much of that. And obviously you'd have to really put him on a boiler down type diet to get him to the point where he'd lose too much of that. But yeah, off season will help him. Well, no doubt about it. That's a long answer. But thanks to everybody. Sorry for not getting to everybody's comments. It just there was a lot in the middle that I was like, okay, I need to zip through. Next time I'll see you though, unless I do something. I might do something before the Big Ten tournament. We'll see. But yeah, there you go. Jeff Nestor says Jacobson said he doesn't want to gain weight so that he can stay mobile. And if you look at the precedent out there, look at the NBA. I mean, there are guys absolutely that look like they've never had a hearty meal, and they're pretty damn good. Wembanyama looks like he weighs about the same as me in an extra 2 feet of person with arms that are double my length. And he does okay, and he's not alone, right? So if the focus is to get to the league and you look at the way they want guys to be shaped, there aren't many Zach Edey's out there that the league wants. I don't really care about the NBA. The more I watch it, the less I like it. And I just want Purdue getting natty. So however we can do that, let's talk about that. So that's about it. I'll talk to you soon. Let's see. Like I said, Purdue will play either Thursday or Friday in the Big Ten tournament. I'll probably it could be a busy weekend. I'll talk to you guys this week, definitely. But until then, God bless you. Hammer down. Talk to you soon. We're heading to the Big Ten tournament late.